Alright, converter board's back in, and I found something else interesting about it. Let me see if I can put this on the meter. So as you hear, the noise is gone right now. One of the things I found out, if I cycle the power, radio off, back on, noise is there. But if I cycle the power to the power supply, basically unplug it, back on, noise is gone. One of the things that I did notice here, I don't know if it's supposed to be this way or not, but if I don't know if you can see my meter here. Yeah, I still want to be able to see it too. So let's see. Okay, that's going back to the power board, or the power amplifier. That's 27.67, almost 28 volts, going back to the power amplifier. When I turn the radio off, it never goes away. It stays there. And I'm pretty sure it's not just a cap, because it's just staying there. I don't know if that's supposed to leave that power amplifier board powered up all the time or not. I don't know if the original one did. I guess I can look at the traces here. I don't know if there's a relay involved. But again, I'll turn it back on. Noise is there. And it actually changes. You can hear it's not quite as loud because I'm on the PA output, the 28 volts. When I take that off, it gets a little bit louder, but you can hear it there. Again, I'll cycle the power down on the 110 coming in. Goes off. Back on, quiet as a mouse. So that's where I'm at with this so far. Okay, and so pressing on now, I'm taking the bottom case off and pull these screws out, 2 on each side, and then there's some on the bottom. But what I want to do in the meantime is I want to find something to put the case on. Get all that out of the way. Need a big towel. So my theory is that since I noticed when you power off the Quinn power supply, the noise goes away. When you power it on again like that, the noise stays away. So when I saw that there was 28 volts to the PA at all times, I realized that the Quint must get its power through the switch as well, and it's not hot all the time. So what I want to do is wire the Quint power supply the way it's supposed to be through the switch as well. So not only will it be the little control that goes to the what used to go to the AVR board, and now it goes to the converter board. It has 2 little wires just to tell it that the power supplies, or that the power switch is on. In addition to that, it also has a 110 line or a 220 line that tells to make the connection for the actual power supply. That was what I wasn't using. I was using a pigtail to power it up, and I'm hoping that that's the issue. So we're going to find that out shortly. Anyhow, I took the bottom 5 bolts out, and now try and get this out of here. This thing's heavy as heck. Just rock it a little bit. there's that out of my way. Let me put this somewhere. Okay, so what I need to look at is going to be the wiring in the back here. I'll put this on to set it on, so when I spin it around it doesn't scratch up the side of it. What I'm going to look at is back here. And one of the things that Jeff had actually talked about was to make sure that the power wire is a power wire, and I'll double check that as well by, let me get one of my many leads. But what I have to do is fish this wire here. I believe this is the wire coming through, and then it goes to the switch and then comes back up, and I'll show you that in a minute. And I just need to figure out what I came up to get. Oh, a power cord. I wanted to look at it. So, first thing I want to check is that the power cord is hot where it says it's going to be hot. So since we know the ground's in the middle, and ground and common are tied to the same thing, you put it in the middle, put that on AC. If I check one side, I should get about nothing. If I check the other side, I should get, I have to pull my insulator off here to do this, so the lead goes far enough in. Anyhow, we put that in the center. We know that's ground. Range 125 volts. So this one, the one on my left, is the hot. So it plugs in like so. That means this one is the hot, and that one's the one that goes to the fuse. So that's good. So we know that's good. That was one of the things that he said to check. So let me look in here. Now one of these wires, and this whole switch here is going to come out. That's the 110 220 switch. That all is going to come out. So let's see. One of these should have a black wire coming to it, I bet. There's a black wire there. Doop, doop, doop. Comes in, comes out. Okay. Here's the brown wire on the outside of the fuse. Then it goes up to a white wire, and it goes to the transformer, and let's see. So on this side, I've got some wires that I'm looking at. Here's the little blue, here's the black. Where's the black connects to the on-off switch. And where does that run to? Oh, that was nice. Well, the thing that's kind of weird about that is that was the black wire. and that goes to the common of the plug. I want to look at the wiring diagram for the TS940. That seems a little odd, but if that's the way they do things, then it doesn't sound right to me, but I'm going to double check to make sure. We'll go from there. Let me see if I can dig that up. Okay, so I took the 6 screws out of here. Sorry I didn't show that. I forgot to turn the camera back on. They basically are right here, 3 on each side. That comes right off. And then I want to turn around and I'm going to take these screws out of here off the side of the transformer. And I'm definitely going to have to go and get some battery recharge on the camera because it's about had it. It's about fed up with my endless babble. But I'll take these guys out. And then what will happen, I'm not going to cut these wires the same way that Jeff does. He feels a little more comfortable doing that. I really don't. In case I decide I want to keep stuff down the road later. But generally what I'll do is find how everything's hooked up into here, and this whole board actually comes out and goes away. I mean, I guess I could leave it on there and reuse this fan, but they actually want it to be open so that the air draws from here and goes across the Quinn power supply, which will be right in this area. So I'm pretty sure I can just pull this whole board out. And there's right down inside, straight down in, there's a couple more screws, I think 3 or 4 more that hold the transformer in. And at that point I believe I can lift it right out of here. So let me put this on pause, and I don't want to waste too much battery just watching me unscrew things. So another thing, if you don't already have one of these, or some type of a strong magnet that you can use to magnetize your screws, your screwdriver, they're great, especially for something like this when you're going down inside there. It gives you just a little bit of magnetic pull where it'll pull the screws right up, and it doesn't stick to everything like a magnetic screwdriver does. If I saw a spark there or not, which would be quite surprising, but who knows, those capacitors could be charged. It's been a long time since it's been running, but okay. So, looks like I have some more wires to cut out of here. I actually know what to cut out, so I'm not going to cut them. I will unplug them, like so. So let me cut the harness retainers, these little zip ties here. These guys. And then all these big wires I can see right here. Where do they want to come out? There's the AVR boards right here. It's going to come out. I'll just pull all these connectors right off of this because that's going to come right out. I don't foresee myself ever putting this back in, but who knows, I might run into another 940 that's in trouble and needs a little bit of help. So, there's that and that. Okay. There's also a, I believe it's an RFI choke down here, and you know, you really can't see it. If I turn this around, you probably can see it in here. This guy right, but down here, 2 more screws that'll come right out. And again, see how nicely the screwdriver picked that, pulled that screw right out of there.
be fine. Okay. And while I'm down in here, there's 4 screws that hold that AVR board in. And that's all going to come out. And I can show you something on this board if the battery lasts long enough on the camera. The power supply in this radio, it did die at one point, but it was because of me. Years ago I was testing something and melted some of the board. But that's why it has new caps in it, and there's even got the big power supply caps down below that are also new. More and more stuff's coming out of here. This guy can stay. This has to go for the something underneath. We'll just get it out of our way. This guy stays. The rest of these, there's the caps. These all go to the capacitors below, and I'll get those out, and I believe at that point everything will just lift out of here. I don't think we had to cut much of anything. So I'll be back. Let me get those 4 screws to get this board out where the capacitors are. Okay, those 4 screws are out. This cover will just lift straight out of here. 2 goes away. These capacitors right here, they go away as well. They're actually soldered. There's a big wire that solders right to the board that when I replaced those was a bear to get, but I'll get in here and cut this. Maybe. There we go. So that's cut. That was the big wire that solders these to the board. You can see it right here. If you can see, there's another set of leads that go right to the board. I'm going to cut those as well. I'll cut them as close as I can to where they go. Actually, I know. Let me see. I know that Jeff just snaps them off. I don't know if they're that easy to snap off or not, but I'll give it a shot. Wasn't too bad. I believe they're just screws that, or bolt heads that come up through there. So let's see. I'll have to pull the switch off underneath for the 110-220 switch. And that should be it. I think maybe I might be able to just pull this all up and lay it on the side or something to get it out of our way. Okay, well, wouldn't you know the battery went dead just when I got to the fun part. But what I ended up doing was cutting these wires. You didn't miss much. I took a photo of it, and I cut enough of them so that I actually left the little bits of color on those, on the transformer, because I was going to have to cut it at one spot or the other, either up here or down below. Unsoldering them would have served no purpose. So that being said, it should be ready to pull everything out of here. And it sure looks like it is. Okay. So what I have is everything. A picture of everything. Didn't have to cut as many wires as they do on TV. But I'll put it over here. I'll find a box to put it in, along with the other stuff. The next thing I didn't even turn it over and take the switch out. And I took the screws out, and I'll just upend it here a little bit and see what we have to do. Move that out of the way. Now it's considerably lighter, I'll tell you that. Okay, well the studs over here are actually screws, but they're underneath a board. So I'm not really that worried about getting them out right now. I'll just break them off. Make sure that the power supply sits down there. And then at some point, if I ever go to do anything, I'll just pull the screws out. But there was solder on the top of them, so I'd never been able to get them out anyhow. So I'll just kind of twist this one out of here, same as I did with the other one. Right there. And again, like I said, if I ever needed them, I would replace the screws anyhow. So just take this and put the radio back on its little towel again, so when I spin it, it doesn't scratch too much. Okay. And see if you can see where I'm looking here. I just don't see it. Right here, here's the switch, and this is pretty much, I think, ready to come off just about. Might be a wire tie that I have to cut up top, only because it's going to keep the wires from coming through the hole. I'll just cut that little plastic tie off like so. And come on, guys. This should pull straight down through here. Okay, then, the way that he had it, I have to replace this wire right here with a white wire, which will go up to the power supply. And then this black wire is going to come down, and I could either extend this wire. I'll see, I don't know which one they extend, whether they extend the black one or the blue one, but that'll get placed onto that. That's not a problem. I can take care of that. Take a look over and see. Let me get some wires. This guy here. See, now what he actually did was he actually pushed this wire through. And I mean, I guess I could do that as well, but I may just come down here and solder a new wire onto it. It doesn't matter, it'll work fine either way, whether I solder it or just use the existing brown wire that's there. So let's see, I'm going to have to ponder that for a little bit. Let's just put this back down. And now, here's where they glue their track board in, right in here. So I'll have to get some cleaner and clean this out. Let me make sure if those screws are broke down far enough that the power supply will fit. I don't remember which way he put it in there. Might have been like this. If that's the case, I'm going to have to break these down a little more flush. You can see them. I don't know if you can see them if you're sticking up a little bit. You know, when it's your radio, you always kind of don't mind spending a little bit of extra steps and taking a little bit longer. So okay, let me go get some cleaner and stuff and get this cleaned up, decide what I want to do with that. Okay, get some rubbing alcohol here to wipe the board down with. Not the board, but the chassis rather. Looks like it's been quite a while since this chassis has been cleaned. Not to say I take my radios apart every couple weeks and clean the chassis, but so I'll clean this, and then I've decided I'm going to pop the wire off and solder the black one on down below onto the side of the fuse holder, and I also want to solder a new white common wire on for the 110 to bring it up, and then that way I'll know what's what by just the colors. I don't know what this is, but this doesn't seem to want to come up too good. Let me try something a little bit more manly. Yeah, no, I'll probably die from the fumes. All right, well that doesn't want to come up, but we got all the dust and everything off. And I think that was the main thing. So after I do the wires for the 110, then or for the input to the power supply, then I'll come back up, we'll measure for that, glue it down, and then that'll be it for tonight until the glue dries. Let me take care of this wiring right now while I'm here. I don't know how much of it I'm actually going to record. I don't know how much you can actually see what I'm doing. Alright. It's a little bit heavy, but it'll do, hopefully. So I need to stand this guy up on its end again. Tell you what, it certainly is a little bit easier to manipulate on the bench without that heavy power supply in there. So let me take a look at this and see what it's going to take to get this guy out. Oh, sorry, you saw me. You had to see my face there. That'll take care of that wire. Get this guy off. Gotta cut that. We'll end up here. You know, those solder suckers, those things are great. They take a lot of maintenance, but you know, to do a job like just one thing like this, sometimes I wonder, is it really worth warming it up? But if you're going to pull a bunch of components out, it's definitely worth it. And it makes short work out of all of that. So let me see where we'll pull the black wire in from. Let you come over. Right about here should probably be good. Bring it in. Looks like they use, and I don't know if this has ever been changed or anything. This almost looks like that high voltage wire. It's not real thick. The conductor's not real thick, but the insulation, it's almost got like a double insulation on it. So let me pull this. Oh, that's good. Steady fingers. All right. There's that. And my solder. That's someone broke in and stole my solder. All right. That's one issue taken care of. That'll be the plus line, and I think there'll be plenty of wire for that. That'll kind of roll in front of everything, and that's perfect for me. So the next thing I need to do is find out where. It looks like it was right on that somewhere. The common lead. So get some of this solder off and maybe I can see what I'm doing here. All right, there we go. It's heating up now. Okay. Okay, found a piece of white wire, a little bit smaller, probably number 16 gauge, which is fine. Just solder it in here, and that'll be done. And we'll be done underneath. One more thing I do want to do, I'll show you is, and again, it's just a cosmetic thing. Come on, heat. There you go. I'll show you that. Here we go, nice and shiny soldery. Yep. And I guess this can push up from just about anywhere. Come on, guy, get in there. There you go. Okay, so that will take care of all of them. So the other thing I want to do is get these little screws that go here. They're probably about a number 4, and put them back in with a nut behind. We'll tape behind that. I don't know if that's going to hold, but I'll clean it up and throw a piece of black electrical tape and then throw the nuts in. So, be back in a few minutes. Okie dokie. So I got the tape on that. I didn't have nuts to secure the bolts like I was saying, so let me look at this here. So he said put this in as far as it goes, far up into the corner as it goes. So that's going to be about it right there. That would be about it right there, and then they just glued it in with RTV. There's no other bolt holes under there, and I'm not going to make a mountain out of a molehill. I'll glue that in with RTV. And then by tomorrow that should be dry enough. And the next thing will go is the power supply. The only thing I may have to lengthen is this one wire here, or possibly even, what does it look like? Come on, little wire, I have to see which one of these it is. Not that blue. Is it this blue? Yeah, it's this blue. This blue is in turn tied to this blue, which looks like somebody's done something with. And I can probably get right there on the board, or on the switch, and remove that and install a longer wire, so I won't have to have any splices. This will go up to the power supply. This is already to the power supply, I think. What we decide? Oh no, that comes back. Power supply is in here. So let me glue that like they said, and we'll call that a night for tonight. Looks like I got some cleaning up stuff to do here. And we'll go from there on a fresh. That should be good for now. Get to where this goes in here. Kind of drop it down in the right area. Said he puts it up against everything. I definitely don't want it on something, so in case I have to take another board off, I can't get it out of there. Okay. So that's it. Let it sleep like that. Okay, so that should be pretty much, I've lost track of how many parts we are. That should be, I believe, part 2 of putting it in. So what have we done so far? We found the noise was probably a typical thing that maybe most or all of them might experience if you're looking for it. So if you hear that noise, don't get all scared like I did. You definitely don't have to cut as many wires. That you want to take everything out as one piece, kind of how I did. And that's about it.